Tom Aspinall is, I don't want to say nobody, but he just hasn't proven anything. He hasn't done anything.
Yo, Jon Jones is pretty delusional in his latest interview. Kevin Iole, the GOAT of all MMA reporters, interviewed Jon Jones last night, and once again, he asks the questions that we care about. Why is Stipe getting this fight? What's the point in it? How's the fight going to go down? And most importantly, why won't you fight Tom Aspinall? And he gets a clear, concise answer. Let's just jump straight in and check this interview out.
You know, I think I know you pretty well and kind of what makes you tick. And, you know, a lot of people are questioning why is Stipe getting this fight because he hasn't won a fight in so long and he hasn't fought in quite a long time. Is it because he is widely considered to be the greatest heavyweight of all time? Is that sort of in your thinking when you say, hey, Stipe is the guy I want to fight, that the reputation he has within the division that you now compete in?
Now, the only critique for Kevin Iole there with that question, good question, but he kind of spoon-fed Jon Jones the answer. Is it because Stipe is the greatest heavyweight of all time? That's why, yeah. Yeah,
you know, I feel that it's unfortunate that we live in a world where one bad performance discredits a person so much. You know,
I agree.
Stipe has beat everyone. I mean, Junior Dos Santos, Francis Ngannou, Daniel Cormier, some of the biggest names, you know, many champions he's defeated. And I feel like I'm wise enough to know that one bad night doesn't make a man or break a man. And Stipe is every bit of worthy as my opponent.
Look, I agree with what he's saying there. People have short-term memories. I said in yesterday's video, take a look at Stipe Miocic's record. He's beat everyone, and he looked damn good doing it. However, MMA has moved on a lot since Stipe last fought. Put it this way, Kamaru Usman was still on top back when Stipe Miocic last fought, as was Adesanya. In fact, Alex Pereira wasn't even in the UFC yet last time the Stipe Miocic fought. MMA in the last few years has evolved fast. I can't even keep up with it for the most part. I never even used to consider myself a casual. Now I kind of do. Based on how fast it's moving, how many new fighters that are coming into the mix, how many new strategies are developed. Look at the low calf kick. That's pretty much changed the game for a lot of fighters. That's only really a recent development. So yes, Stipe, he's got the record, greatest heavyweight of all time, but MMA has moved on a lot since Stipe.
Back to back, especially in the heavyweight division, and what he's done is truly special, and I just want to give the man his opportunity. I know fighting me for a lot of athletes is a really big deal, and if anyone deserves to be in there with me, it's Stipe Miocic.
He says he wants to give Stipe the opportunity. No, John, come on, stop lying. You want to give yourself the easy opportunity to beat up the old, inactive version of Stipe Miocic. You want this fight because it's easier, not because you want to pay your dues to Stipe. I want to give Stipe the opportunity. That's absolute bull crap.
Let me just say this, because I want to be clear, at least on my position on this. I have been critical of the fight, not because Stipe got beaten by Francis, but because he hasn't fought for so long, right? That is the big issue here, right? Tom Aspinall has been fighting and been active, and Stipe has not. That's the only issue. I think, you know, just like everybody agrees that you're the greatest fighter of all time, even though you haven't fought, you know, in 2 years or a year and a half, people also think he's the greatest heavyweight. He just hasn't been active. And I think that's the argument people make.
I hear you.
Good question.
What it shows me is our boss's loyalty to his athletes. I mean, Stipe Miocic versus Francis back in the day. I mean, it had the whole world excited of, like, how would this firefighter, right, what people like to call him, how would this 240-pound athlete go up a guy like Francis, this larger-than-life character? You know, and they gave us a great, a little saga or whatnot, you want to call it. Dana White doesn't forget that, you know. I believe guys like Stipe and I, we helped take the UFC to a new level. And just because we've been off for a while doesn't mean we're not great athletes and we don't have strong fan bases We don't have MMA historians who, I shouldn't call it historians, but longtime MMA fans who always question what would happen with John and Stipe.
Wasn't too sure of that answer, was he? Didn't know really where he was going with that. Kevin Iole was specific about the argument isn't that Stipe hasn't got a record or that he's not the best fighter. It's just that he's been inactive for so long and that it really shouldn't be him in there. And then Jon Jones just kind of skirted about the topic and said, it just shows our boss's loyalty. And look at Stipe, this firefighter. How's he going to go up against Francis Ngannou, larger than life? Like, I don't get it.
I'm 37 years old, and I am not a person to be counted out. And at 42, I don't believe Stipe is a person to be counted out. Styles makes matchups. And for the real long-term MMA fans who grew up watching both Stipe and I compete, I think this fight is always going to be intriguing to them.
I don't know, the long-term hardcore MMA fans, I think a lot of them want to see the Aspinall and Jon Jones fight. At the end of the day, why do we tune into the UFC? It's to see the best fight the best. This fight right here is an example of not the best fight and the best. It's the best fighting someone who used to be the best.
He obviously has had an unbelievable, beat for Brucio Verdum. He's beaten DC twice. He beat Francis Ngannou. So nobody can argue with his record. Given where he's at now, how do you game plan for a guy that hasn't been active, right? He's only fought once each year from going back the last 4 or 5 years, and then he hasn't fought at all since 2021. How do you game plan for a guy like that when you don't have recent film of what he does?
Well, his inactivity, I try not to pay much attention to that. I mean, I took off 3 years, and I came back, and I beat one of the most mystical creatures that the UFC has seen in a while, in Cyril Gane. I mean, no one could stop him.
Francis Ngannou beat him. In fact, Francis Ngannou laid down the template on how to beat Cyril Gane. He out-wrestled him. What did Jon Jones do? Wrestled him. Choked him out. This big mythical creature, Cyril Gane. Maybe up until that Francis Ngannou fight, but then didn't look too invincible after that Francis Ngannou fight. Right now, this is where he talks about why he won't fight Tom Aspinall.
Tom Aspinall's the guy that people want to see you fight, right? So here's the question. You're fighting Stipe Miocic, and I know you're focused on that fight. If you defeat him, as you're a 6-1 favorite to win the fight, if you defeat him, will you defend your belt against Aspinall, who has the interim title?
More than likely not. I feel like Tom Aspinall is, I don't want to say nobody, but he just hasn't proven anything. He hasn't done anything.
He said he hasn't done anything. Roll that footage. Are you absolutely kidding me, Jon Jones? This is delusional. By what metrics do you judge if a fighter has done something or not? First off, Tom Aspinall has got the shortest fight time in UFC history. I think it's something like 2 minutes, 5 seconds, something like that, as average fight time, which is crazy. He beat Volkov, Spivak, Curtis Blades, Sergey Pavlovich, Tybura, who are all in the top 10 of the heavyweight division. Off the top of my head, I couldn't even name yet a champion within the UFC in general who has done that in recent history. And not just that, it's in the way that he's beating these fighters. To have the nerve to say that Tom Aspinall hasn't done anything yet. He's the interim title holder and he's defended the interim title. When I do videos like these covering this Jon Jones Stipe Miocic fight situation, it's rare that I see a comment of someone who wants Jon Jones to fight Stipe Miocic. There might be one out of 200, 300, 400 comments. And if you do want to see Jon Jones fight Stipe Miocic, then comment down below because I genuinely want to hear from you. Give me your reasons why. Let's see what else he's got to say.
I'm not here to gamble someone else making a name off of me. I'm here to compete against the guys where when we look back, 10 years from now, it'd be like Jon Jones fought this guy and that guy and this legend and this champion and this champion.
And Tom Aspinall is one of those guys. Having a win over Tom Aspinall on your record whilst Tom is in the prime of his life right now, destroying everyone and is also the interim champion, I believe that holds a lot more weight than Stipe Miocic 5-6 years after his prime. However, a lot of people won't consider that context and they will just look at the name on the record. Jon Jones defeats Stipe Miocic, and I guess that will contribute towards his legacy, but those who know understand that a win over Stipe isn't going to be as impressive as a win over Tom Aspinall.
If there were to be a fight of a guy that's still on our UFC roster that would be not only financially worth it, but legacy worth it, it would be Alex Pereira. You know, Alex Pereira and I, we both 37.
Light heavyweight champ.
Yeah, we're both 37 years old. Right now, I weigh about 235. I'm an incredibly light heavyweight. I think Pereira walks around at 240. And I think that fight would go much farther on my legacy than a young man who's cool today and maybe gone tomorrow.
Don't set up the Pereira fight. Waste of time, because we just see that Pereira fight go exactly the same as the Cyril Gane fight. Pereira will come out, he'll get taken down by Jon Jones straight away, submitted straight away. Maybe Pereira could last to the second round if Jon Jones wanted to stroke his ego and try and stand with Pereira a little bit, but it'd just be a boring domination by Jon Jones. I know those two words don't really go hand in hand together, boring and domination, but sometimes they can. Look at Jailton Almeida in the heavyweight division. Dominates people for the most part, minus a couple fights. Boring fighter. Shoots in for a single leg, gradually takes you down, chokes you out, like 0 strikes thrown. Skilled, technical, incredibly so. All respect goes to him, but to have him as a champion, we want to see excitement, entertainment. But maybe Jon Jones is right about having Alex Pereira on his record might actually be better for his legacy than Tom Aspinall on his record. Just with Alex Pereira having a little bit more accolades, he's a couple steps ahead over Tom Aspinall with regards to the impact that he's making within the sport right now. A lot of people don't really know Tom Aspinall yet. He's still got to break through. He's almost in that Leon Edwards type sphere where he's the champion, but he's not quite breaking through and getting the recognition that he deserves. And that will come. He just needs to keep winning, that's all. Keep chatting a bit of shit as well, Tom. That will help. Do those skits, trying to get Jon Jones to fight, try and bait him out. But Alex Pereira, he's a megastar right now. So yeah, it might be a little bit better for Jon Jones' legacy having Alex Pereira win on his record.
I remember a time when the whole world thought Johnny Walker was going to be the guy to beat me. And no disrespect for Johnny Walker, but I mean, we all have seen the way his career's played out. I've just been here too long to get all excited about someone who's hot today. I'm here for legacy. I've been gambling for way too long to just take random fights.
Man, random fights. These are wild statements by Jon Jones, and he says it so nonchalantly as well. Johnny Walker was never champion, and Johnny Walker was KOing everyone. I remember 2019, I think it was on the Darren Till and Kelvin Gastelum card. Johnny Walker KO'd someone on that card, it might have been. And I remember buying into that narrative that, damn, he's the one who's going to challenge Jon Jones easily, until we found out that Johnny Walker can't take a punch to save his life and cannot defend strikes and has got no jab despite having like the longest arms in the UFC. And who did Johnny Walker really fight? Nobody. Anyone who he got a KO over wasn't like super significant within the UFC. Whereas look at Tom Aspinall, it's all top 10 opponents that he's KOing in 2 minutes or under. To sit there and say that Tom Aspinall is a nobody, he might be here today, gone tomorrow, when he is the literal interim champion and doing what he's doing within the heavyweight division, is just complete, utter disrespect. Absolute wild statement from Jon Jones. But anyway, we've got him fighting Stipe Miocic next week. It'll be interesting to see how that goes down. I'm really hoping that Stipe Miocic puts up a good fight. Let me know what you thought of this video down below in the comments. I try and read every single comment. And based on your likes and interests, YouTube thinks that you should watch this video right here. Check it out, like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.